Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Hour on GBC24, the All News channel, and GTV. With me, Conrad Kakraba. Coming up in this package, continue to live in peace, says President Mahama to the people of Anglo State. Volta Star Textiles going downhill. An SOS from Achimota School for a permanent wall to keep out encroachers. And Russia flies 11,000 Egypt tourists home. President John Mahama has asked communities throughout the country to use festivals to garner support for the needed development of the nation. Speaking to the people of the Anglo traditional area during the annual Hogbechocho Festival, President Mahama urged all to remain united with a common destiny, adding that peace is invaluable. Hogbechocho is the festival of Exodus celebrated by the people of the Anglo traditional area in the Volta region. It is celebrated on the first Saturday in the month of November and commemorates the escape of the Eves from the cruelty of King Agokoli of Ngochie in present-day Togo. History has it that the people made their escape at night in a backward procession, the idea behind the backward dance moves of Agbaja. Various ceremonies are held, including a peacemaking period in which all disputes are ended after amicable resolutions. There is also a purification ceremony of the ceremonial stools. The Awamefia of the Anglo traditional area, Togwisiri, acknowledged development projects being undertaken in the region, pledging total support and commitment to the government. President Mahama commended the people for their peaceful coexistence and urged them to keep the peace at all times to foster development.
I'm happy that the celebration of this very traditional and historic festival has resumed after years of suspension. And I urge Awamefia and the chiefs and people of the Anglo State to ensure that peace reigns and the celebration is never ever curtailed again. Anglo needs peace and Anglo needs progress. The theme for this year's festival, Anglo on the path of unity, peace, progress, and development, must therefore be actualized.
The Eves state has two main groups, the Southern Eves, which includes the Anglos with their traditional headquarters at Angloga, and the Northern Eves, referred to as the Evedomiawu, who inhabit the central belt of Ghana. The Kingdom of Anglo is one of the largest of the Ewe coastal tribes in Ghana, with about 36 major states. The once vibrant Juapon Textiles Limited, now Volta Star Textiles, is gradually collapsing. For about 3 weeks now, the company has been shut down due to lack of funds to finance the operations of the company. The workers say they have not been paid for the past 9 months and are reluctant to return to work unless they are paid. Juapon is a community located in the North Dong district of the Volta region. It has over the years built a reputation as a farming hub, a cassava dough producing community, and one of Ghana's oldest textiles company. The Volta Star Textiles are located here. Formerly known as Juapon Textiles, it was established in the year 1960 by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to supply plain cloth or grey bath to other textile companies in the country as part of an integrated textiles industry. The factory in the 1960s and 70s was described as one of the best producing textiles and fabrics limited in West Africa. However, at a point, the company suffered a nosedive due to the stiff competition from imported products, resulting in the lack of capital to finance the operations of the company. The company was, however, revived in 2005 to serve as a source of job creation for the youth in the area. Currently, the renovated factory is being operated as a joint partnership between the government of Ghana and a Chinese textiles company, Urich Limited. Volta Star Textiles Limited currently produces about 6 million yards of grey baft annually out of a total capacity of 21 million yards due to financial challenges. Today, the once vibrant and productive grey baft company is gradually losing its essence. Earlier this week, the workers of the company hit the streets to demand for their unpaid salaries, and according to some workers and union members of the company, they have not been paid their 9 months' salary arrears and will not go back until they are paid. Bruni Salam, John Zimelo and Larry Lavi have worked with the company for the last 9 years.
You go to work, you stand on machine for 8 good hours without sitting down. And then after all that, 9 good months or 10 good months, you don't receive anything as a salary.
Ministers came here, no positive action. MPs came here, positive action. DCEs were here. Traditional rulers, they have done their best that they can do, but nothing come out of it. So we have seen that we can no longer add debt on debt.
It is very heart-paining that a young guy like me will work for 10 good months without pay. Oh, what a pains. Go to the homes and see our rents being finished. Our landlords are driving us away from homes. Some are living under a shed, a palm tree shed. Why is this nation going like this?
Some of the residents of Juapan are appealing to the government and its agencies to move in to resolve the challenges that confronts the company.
We are appealing to our government, our president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to come to our aid before it is too late.
Poor road network and poor market infrastructure are also another major challenge in this community. The people of this community are appealing to the government and investors to revive the once vibrant company which used to serve as a source of employment for the youth. With the successful implementation of the peri-urban, rural and small town water project, some hard-to-reach areas in Brekum in the Bonahafu region have now got access to regular water supply from mechanized boreholes. For inhabitants of these areas, a constant supply of water is good and impacts positively on their lives. GBC24 has visited in Sapo, one of the beneficiary communities.
This is in Sapo, a farming community in Brekum in Bonahafu. Here, 80% of the settlers are farmers. They cultivate crops such as plantain and maize and also keep poultry on a small scale. The community, like many other developing areas, lacks infrastructure such as schools, sanitation facilities, health and recreational centers. It has been difficult to get potable water here. Many years ago, residents had an unreliable hand pump system, compelling inhabitants to draw water from streams and other unsafe sources. So, the Brekum Municipal Assembly, through the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, has provided a mechanized borehole to improve quality of water supply in the area. GBC24 caught up with Enua Benachema, who has lived here for many years. She happens to be the caretaker of one of the old hand pump water systems in the town. Kwame Amponsa, Isaac Bonsu and Hasten Hene come from Insapo and have lived here for many years. They told GBC24 that they are relieved that the water situation has improved considerably.
So the bibia kama na edumbe bi say I say kure totwa yen so no na common person o mamusuo no on beton ba due to a water sanitation board o say so no ton the municipality say bibia si in case of say so no be say ya no mo di akra no
bohui kinken awia na ntini we ne bae ne de ye kama ewe mu ede kama pa mo aboa bet enema bu ha ye be srese nka mo bedi hu djuma ma yen ye hwe ne bo na any bohu no is like say a the slight difference bi den aba nti ye be srese nka mo betimi ateso amaya.
The mechanized borehole at Insapo is connected to two other neighboring communities, the Nanswano and Benkasa in Brekum.
4 people, including a toddler, are reported dead on the compound of Achimota School. How to keep the compound safe for the students and staff continues to be a Herculean task, with encroachers and squatters boldly pitching camp in the middle of the school. The authorities say all efforts to get the trespassers off the property has not been successful. The school is now in dire straits and is calling for help to build a permanent fence around the entire school.
The school is still grappling with the problem of encroachment as developers have taken huge portions of the school land for private residences and business concerns. Currently, there are many churches all around the school compound. Again, A lot of squatters have occupied portions of the school land, especially near the sports field and dormitories. Not only that, there have been some theft cases on the school compound blamed on the illegal settlers and squatters. Recently, 4 people, including a toddler, were murdered on the compound. Samuel Edu, a labourer at Achimota School, got stabbed by some squatters, but luckily survived. He narrated his ordeal to GBC24 and said one driver who also works at the school and lives close by was also stabbed, but died.
Enti ohon mna boys ni say so no odwane enti me buma ni say pepe no ne mi wan say mechi bia enti me tiam te agi no agi a metiam na me tirim bia so sanda me tia wo masom say ebi say yentu sika na ebi say ma yentu ne mi wan so obi bai nipa ne bai a okwa me ti call from si ono twen sika no e mechi.
The headmistress of the school, Mrs. Beatrice Adum, was emphatic that Achimota School is a national asset and a historical heritage, and therefore the lands need to be protected.
I wish to take this opportunity to invite them to come and support the school, especially with the walling of the school. And to Ghanaians, the population is growing bigger, it's not shrinking. So we'll have to take in more people. So leave Achimota School lands for educational developments.
The school does not have adequate water supply. The school clinic and some staff bungalows have not had water flowing for more than 3 years now. All these notwithstanding, the teachers and students continue to work hard to see their academic dreams come true to attain higher laurels in life. Deserving students who had worked hard during the academic were presented with awards and certificates during its speech and prize-giving day.
Odogono Senior High School has turned the corner to mark its 75th milestone, and as the school climaxed its year-long Diamond Jubilee, a renowned evangelist and an old boy of the school, Dr. Lawrence Tete, encouraged the students to cultivate the habit of reading to keep up with the changes around the world. Started with 19 students and 10 teaching staff many decades ago. Today, the student population of Odogono Senior High School is 2,409. The school was founded by the late Reverend J.T. Lay and Mr. J.K. Akwa, both teachers in 1940. Its alumni list includes the former Greater Accra Regional Minister Sheikh I.C. Kwe, the current Greater Accra Regional Minister Nilaye Afutiagbo, the Member of Parliament for Anya Sewutum, Ms. Shirley Ayokwa Buchwe, and an international evangelist, Dr. Lawrence Tete. 75 years down the lane, Odogono Senior High School rubs shoulders with the best senior high schools in the country, having won the 3rd place in the recent rankings of best senior high schools in the capital. In spite of its laurels, the school has its own share of challenges, including limited resources for the large student population, no library facility, and a dilapidated science laboratory.
The very dilapidated science block is on the verge of collapsing. It has dangerous cracks all over.
An old boy of the school, Dr. Lawrence Tete, paid glowing tribute to past students through whose efforts the school has attained greater heights. He urged all students to make reading a hobby for their personal development.
The simple act of encouraging a student to spend time reading hard copies of books is still very relevant today. One must still be encouraged to use the already acquired skill of reading.
Deserving students were patted on the back with some awards. In the past, many would choose to confide in a priest, but today, scandal has hit some churches, making seeking solace in the church not an option for some. And so the call on the 70th graduating class of Trinity Theological Seminary was to be morally upright always. And at the ceremony in Accra, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, urged the class to protect their integrity.
251 students graduated with various degrees and certificates in their courses, which include Certificate in Ministry, Bachelor of Theology, Masters of Art in Ministry, Master of Theology, and Master of Divinity. On the theme, Morality and the Academy, the way forward for the 21st century, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ernest Aite, explained that morality should be seen as a fundamental process of development, urging all graduates to uphold integrity at all costs.
In Romans 12, verse 2, we learn that, and I quote, "Do not conform yourselves to the standards of the world, but let God transform you inwardly by the renewal of your mind." This text suggests that education, which is predominantly an intellectual endeavor, must seek to renew one's orientation with godly values.
Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur mentioned money, women, and fame to have contributed to the fall of some men of God. These, she says, may compete with their call. However, God expects them to be different and rise above all odds in service.
Be the Nehemiahs that the Lord is raising up for this country. Remember, you cannot be like any other person. The Lord expects you to be different and impact this nation.
The president of Trinity Theological Seminary, Reverend Professor Joseph Obriyeboa Mante, charged the graduates to work for Jesus and not for money, show of power, nor fame. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
We'll be back with more stories. Welcome back. It's still News Hour on GBC24 and GTV. International passengers departing Egypt's Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh continued to line up for flights on Sunday as the first of the 3 teams of Russian inspectors was dispatched to the country to examine airport security following last weekend's airline disaster. The Russian flight's crash in the Sinai Peninsula that killed all 224 people on board continues to generate fallout after the Islamic State claimed responsibility for its downing, and US and British officials say intelligence shows it was likely brought down by a bomb on board. Britain and several airlines have stopped normally scheduled flights to the resort, while Russia has suspended all travel to Egypt because of security concerns. Egyptian authorities have bristled at the allegations of lax security, with some blaming an anti-Egypt bias in the foreign media. A twin suicide bombing by women attackers in the Flashpoint area of Lake Chad on Sunday killed 2 people and wounded 14 others. A security source in the Chadian capital, N'Djamena, said the 2 women suicide bombers and 2 civilians died in the blast. Ngubwa village near the Nigerian border has suffered repeated attacks by Boko Haram jihadists since they first launched operations in Chad in February. Suicide bombings, many by women and girls, are fast becoming Boko Haram's preferred method of inflicting civilian casualties. The deadliest attack on Chad's side of the lake took place on 10th October when a triple seaside attack at Baga Sula killed 41 people. Votes are being counted in Myanmar's first openly contested national election for 25 years. Turnout is thought to have been 80%, seen as a further big step away from decades of military rule. Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy (NLD) is expected to win the most parliamentary seats, although she is barred from the presidency. The military-backed Union Solidarity Development Party, the USDP, has been in power power since 2011, and observers say voting was generally smooth with some isolated irregularities. Crowds of excited supporters appeared outside the NLD headquarters in Yangon as darkness fell, apparently expecting to hear results. Instead, a party official read out a message urging them to calmly wait at home. The first official results are expected to be issued from 9 a.m. local time, that is 3:30 p.m. GMT on Monday. That's how we end our package tonight. Next is Talking Point, and the focus will be on the increase in tariffs. Have a good evening.